Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you for joining me. Hello, hello. Looking in the chats. Hello to you, Wayne in Indiana. We got Georgia represented. We have California in here. Boston. Love it. Let me know where you're joining from. Iowa. Hello, Iowa. Matt and all Matt's fan club. Oh, that's so sweet, Brenda. Oh, I love seeing where people join me from, especially in the video comments when people leave me comments. I've gotten so many like greetings from Iran, greetings from France, greeting from Australia. I love it. Ooh, Hawaii. Excellent, excellent. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. We've got a lot of great questions. You all really came through. I got tons of emails and comments. Plus, we'll see what questions you have here in the chat. So I'm really excited to get into them. Canada, hello, hello. Ooh, Ireland. Oh, thank you so much. I know when in this time slot it's harder for all of my friends in Europe and other parts of the world that are on a totally different time zone to make it. So obviously, I hope, hi, if you're watching this replay for you. Yes. Oh, Kentucky, excellent. Hello, hello. I have a lot of family in Kentucky. I'm not smart enough yet to ask questions. Totally fine. And that's something that I want to make sure I emphasize in this live stream. And when we do future Q&As, I promise you, there are no dumb questions. Some of you, when you sent emails in, they were so sweet, but they also had a tone of like, I'm so embarrassed to ask this. Don't. I promise you, there are no dumb questions. I don't care if you're asking me a complicated question or like, can you tell me how to play a note on the piano? Like, I'm here for all of it, okay? And I promise that I'm not gonna say your name. Like, I made a list of the questions that were sent to me. We'll see how many I can get through. I'm not gonna call you out, so especially if you asked a question that you may be embarrassed to ask, I don't want you to be embarrassed, okay? I'm here to help you, okay? Most of us are here at the same level. The majority of my YouTube viewers, all of you are kind of at the beginner/intermediate level, which is wonderful. Like, you all are a community together. So no dumb questions, okay? If you ask me questions in the chat as we go through this, I promise you, no one's gonna laugh at you, and I'll be aggravated if I hear from you later on, oh, I had a question I wanted to ask, but I was embarrassed to ask it. Pish tosh, none of that, okay? Oh, hello to another one in Canada. Hello, hello. Can I play like you when I grow up? We'll see. A couple of, I've gotten some fun comments about the hat. You all notice I wear my hat all the time. So some people started calling it my magic hat. Like I'm Frosty the Snowman or something, where you remember that? You put the magic hat and you come to life. So this is my magic hat. So maybe all of the piano secrets are in there. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in. I have a list of questions that were sent to me, plus I want you to ask me questions in the chat. A couple of things. So first, I'm gonna just see how many I can get through. Some probably have shorter answers than others. You know, after a certain point, we'll have to just wrap it up. Also, some of you ask questions specifically that are very, how do I want to word this? They're at the heart of videos coming out very soon in the near future that I'll be publishing. So if you asked a question that I'm doing a deep dive on, like in an upcoming video in the next week or two, then I may skip that one or give you a shorter answer, knowing that, hey, I've got a video coming out really soon just for you. Also, there's a little bit of a lag with YouTube Live that I've learned. So if you ask a question or in the chat, it may like take a minute for me to see it. But I'm going to go through the list and I'll keep checking in with you all in the chat. So please chat with me, all right? Let me know how it's going. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive in. Now, the first question was actually something that has been asked several times in my video chats, in my video comments, and it's a great question to ask, and I'm glad you all brought it up because I want to be able to explain it to you. This is what's great about YouTube Lives. You get sort of behind the curtain. You get to see the magic behind the curtain. So the first question that I got was, it's not necessarily playing piano, but it basically was this. I noticed that sometimes in your videos, you'll show an example using real songs, and then sometimes you don't. Is that on purpose? And the answer is yes. And that's interesting you all notice that. You may notice there are videos that I stay away from playing like a real song, and then there's videos that I lean into it. Here's the reason, the magic behind the curtain. On YouTube, long story short, YouTube gets a little complicated at times when you're creating a video and uploading it and having to go through algorithms. If you have quote unquote a real song that's in there, well, the algorithms pick it up, and then it's not that you can't post it, but sometimes it can make it a bit more complicated on my end with all the algorithms and the copyrights and all that stuff. So sometimes, to be frank, sometimes it's worth the effort, the extra hassle, and sometimes it's not. Depends on what I'm wanting to teach. So that's why sometimes if there's a concept that I want you to learn and I don't have to necessarily show it to you in a real song, then I won't bother with that because you don't need it. But if I'm obviously doing like, a live session where I'm going to play the Beatles, well, obviously I have to play the Beatles. So you're going to see that as I keep going and I've learned how YouTube works on my end. There'll be videos or live sessions where I focus on real songs, and then there's sessions where I don't. I'll teach you a general concept for then you to go apply to your favorite songs. So I hope that kind of explains it, but you're right, and I love that you all are clever and you're noticing, because I had that question several times. So I love being able to explain that to you. Okay, next one, let's look at the chats here. But do pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Absolutely, yes. Oh, hey, hello, Barry from North Carolina. Great, Harry, what about a pedal? Must I use it? Excellent question, because I also had a couple of questions about pedaling. So let's go ahead and jump to that. So I actually had a couple of questions that deal with this same concept. Some people ask specifically, how do I pedal, or how should I approach the pedal? And there were other people that asked specific questions about how can I practice changing chords where it sounds good? Because they notice that trying to change chords and stay in tempo or not have awkward silences was tricky. The answer to both of those lies in the center of proper pedaling. And this is actually something I worked with several of my virtual students this past week on. We had big discussions on, we have to start implementing pedal immediately because your pedal is your best friend. That's what I say. Too many times, and I'm going to show you an example here in a second on the keyboard, but too many times piano players think, I have to focus on learning the notes and that's the most important thing, and then I'll add pedal at the end. Like it's sort of the bow on top of the tree, the icing on the cake. That's not true. You need to go ahead and practice your pedaling as you are learning notes, because your pedal will change how you finger notes and what notes how you want to play, what chords you want to do, how do you practice playing multiple chords. So, for example, if I have multiple chords, let's say let's just choose 4 chords. I've got E minor, C major, G major, D major. Now, the reason the pedal is important while I do this is if I don't have pedaling, I'm going to have awkward silences in between the chords. I'm going to have something like this. And we may not want that. And more importantly, if we don't have the pedal, it forces my fingers to stay glued to the keys. And this is what I was noticing with several students of my private students this past week when we were working virtually. I noticed that when they were playing chords, their fingers were very weighted. They were stuck to the keys and they felt like they had to hold their fingers there the whole time. So then when it came time to change chords, well, now they're a little too far behind. They're not in tempo, or there's a little bit of an awkward pause. Use the pedal to give yourself freedom to be able to shift. So the rule of thumb is, as soon as you hit notes down, get off of them. Like touch them and get away. Let the pedal do the work of holding it so you're able to move your hands into position before you have to play something. If you wait to move your hand into the note that you're trying to play, then you're a bit too late. You want to get your hand moved beforehand. So watch, if I play these chords, watch how my hand, I'm going to use the pedal, my hand is going to hit the keys and then immediately start to move to the next chord before I ever have to play the chord, because I'm using the pedal to hold the sound. So like this. So if you saw, my fingers were moving ahead of time. So a way to practice pedaling and practice changing chords is choose what I just did. Just choose 2 to 4 chords, even just 2 chords, and you're just gonna go back and forth, back and forth. Let's say I'm just doing E minor and C major. I'm gonna constantly loop them, but I'm gonna make sure when I pedal, I am going, I'm pushing the pedal down when I hit the first chord. I'm holding the pedal down while I'm moving into position, and I'm not gonna release my pedal until I push my fingers down on the next chord. When I push my fingers down on the next chord, my foot is then gonna come up and then back down. It's gonna release it. So oftentimes people think the pedal and the foot, or the pedal and the fingers go together. They kind of don't. They're actually doing more like this. The opposite. It's sort of doing this. Once you're in the middle of changing, your foot is releasing the pedal as you're hitting the next chord, and then it's back down. That way you have a smooth transition. So pedaling is really important, and it's important to practice while you're learning to play because it lets you do more stuff. I can do leaps, like even melodies that leap up and down. That's easier with the pedal down because I'm not having to hold my fingers down the whole time. So now I'm kind of trapped. I'm able to just hit a note and get off of it and move. So your pedal is your best friend. And I will have videos coming out later where I really kind of talk about this. I do a deep dive into pedaling because it's really, really important. Okay, let me get to another question on the list. I'll sort of go back and forth between a question from the chat, question in the list. Next one, how can I learn to play without looking at the keyboard? So this is really important. This is another thing that came up with a few of my private students, especially last week, if I can remember. It is important eventually to be able to get to a spot where you can play without having to look. Both are valuable. It's valuable to look at your hands so you know that you're hitting the right notes. But it's also really valuable to train your ears and can you feel the keys and start to learn how to navigate it. So you may notice if you've seen me play in my videos or even my concerts or YouTube Live, if I'm playing, I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I'm looking down at them and then sometimes I'm not. I'm just sort of looking up, right? It's not because I'm just distracted. It's feeling the fingers with the keys. So here is the golden ticket for that. The 2 most important notes to start practicing how can I play the piano without looking at it are C and F. Now, what they have in common are C and F are both connected to black keys. You can tell on your keyboard or piano, if you close your eyes and you feel your keyboard, you can feel where black keys are because they're elevated. You don't have to be able to see the black keys to feel where the black keys are. And that the black keys are in alternates of 2s and 3s. There's a group in a 2, a group in a 3, and then it just does that. And you can easily feel that because there's space between them. Well, this is how you use it. It's sort of like Braille in a sense. You use that to find any note. Because if you can find a set of 2 black keys anywhere, then you can always find C. Because C is the white key that's right on the left, right below it. So if I need to find any C, I close my eyes, I try to find like, okay, here's a group of 3 black keys, here's a group of 2 black keys, here's a group of 2 black keys, I go down to the note, the white note that's below it, right to the left of it. That's C. F is the same way. F, when you have a group of 3 black keys, once you find them, F is the white key that's right to the left of the 3 black keys. If you can find C and F, then you can find any note because our piano uses the 7 letters of the alphabet, the first 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It rotates. So then once you know where C and F is, you can just work your way up and down. So if I need to be able to know where E is without looking, I have 2 black keys. I find C, it's the white key to the left. Now I can work my way up or down. C, D, E. Boom. It's a great way to start to practice how can you find notes. So it's kind of a game. Choose random notes, keep your eyes closed, ask yourself to find random notes and try to use the black keys to help you find C and F to then let you find any note. right? Now, if you're not used to it, it can feel really awkward and slow, but that helps you. So then when you start to build chords, you can do that without looking, because if you can find one note, then you start to learn how to build chords. So if it was a C major chord, well, if I can find C, then, okay, D, E, F, G. It's a great game, but you don't have to memorize all 88 notes on the piano. You just have to find the notes that are sort of the goalpost, the guides, and then you just work your way up and down. Okay, let's go to chat. I was really playing with two hands. Yes, I did see a lesson on YouTube, but do you have any more? Oh, okay, so how to play with left hands. So we have, my problem is really playing with two hands. So this also came up a few times in the questions submitted to me as well. The notion of I'm not very comfortable having both hands going on at the same time. So the best way to tackle this is we're going to use chords, and we're going to use the marriage of chords and arpeggios. So chords, you pick a chord. So let's do C major, really easy chord. When we say chord, technically we mean you're going to play all the notes at the same time. If we say arpeggio, that means one at a time. The best way to start to practice hands together, and I do this all the time with people, you start with just one chord. Then you're going to do that chord 100 different ways. You're first going to do the chord in each hand individually. So can I play C major, C, E, G? Can I play that chord in the right hand? Great. Can I play it in the left hand? Great. Now, can I alternate each one at a time? Great. Now, can I play them both together? Great. Now, can I do them both together, but they are an arpeggio, so one at a time? And then can I do that arpeggio, but I change up the order? So instead of bottom note, middle note, top note, now maybe I try middle note, top note, bottom note. Now maybe I try top, middle, bottom. Now I try top, bottom, middle. Then you start to challenge yourself to where both hands are going to play the same C major chord, but one hand is going to do a chord while the other hand does an arpeggio. So if the left hand is playing the chord, the left hand is playing all three notes at the same time, while the right hand is going to do one at a time. So something like this. Then you flip it. So then the other hand does the chord and the other hand does an arpeggio. And then you can try doing an arpeggio, but they're not doing the same order. So maybe your left hand is going to go up and down, and your right hand is going to go down and up. There's a ton of different things you can do with just one chord. Now, will that maybe get annoying if you do it for a really long time? Maybe, but it's a really great way for it to not feel overwhelming, to start to practice hands together, and then they're slowly doing things individually. And then once that feels easy with one chord, then you do it with multiple chords. So you have like a chord progression, you pick 2 chords, 4 chords, and you're switching while doing that. And while you're improvising, you're switching it up. So as you do it, you're just kind of constantly experimenting with, okay, now they're a chord, now they're arpeggio. Now one's a chord, one's an arpeggio. Now I flip that. Like there's ways to just choose 1 or 2 chords, and you can spend 30 minutes just going down a rabbit hole with it. That's a lot better than to just choose a song to start to learn that has complicated hands together, and you just start to get frustrated. Okay, let's go to one on the list. We have, are there required fingerings and hand spans? This is basically an easy question to answer, and the answer is no. Now, some traditional piano teachers or piano players may disagree with me on that. Here's why, and I've actually changed my mind on this. In the traditional world, there is more of a philosophy of, yes, there are correct fingerings. However, As I got into the real world of piano, I noticed that every time we said that, there was someone that came along that was a loophole. My hand is too small. My hand is too big. I have arthritis. My finger does this weird thing. My keyboard is big. The keys are too big, or my keyboard keys are very small. So I learned what's most important is that you are just figuring out your own fingerings that feel comfortable. The only time fingerings are really crucial, like you really should do it this way, is if you're doing classical music. That's my experience from my long career. If a student comes to me and they have a classical piece of music that they're wanting to learn, we'll probably focus more on fingerings. But other than that, when you're just wanting to learn your favorite pop songs and rock songs and play your favorite tunes, not really. I don't harp on fingerings unless I see someone really kind of, breaking their wrist to bend up and down or move in a some weird way. Then I may make a suggestion of, well, why don't you try it a different way? But it's sort of, I like putting it in the students' hands and letting you all be critical thinkers instead of me just saying, why don't you rotate your thumb under on that note? I instead would rather you take a few minutes and figure it out for yourself. You have 5 fingers on each hand, most likely. And how can you move where you are not, breaking your wrist doing it? How can you figure it out? And it's a trial by error. That's much better. It's just about, are you comfortable and are you successful? So in my opinion, and my students can vouch for this, I'm not harping on you must finger it this way because every student's going to be different. I literally had a few days ago 2 students back to back, and we were kind of working on the same chord technique, but one was a female, one's a male, and the female had very small hands. So the way we were fingering the chords, totally different. So it'd be weird for me to say you must finger the chord this way, but then we have 2 different loopholes. So that's sort of my little pedestal on fingerings. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm catching up. I'm reading all the chats. I love it. Keep them coming. Oh, this is also, so I'm kind of seeing this in the chats, and I got a lot of this in emails this past week. Besides getting a lot of tone of, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed to ask this question because I'm quote unquote a beginner, I got a lot of comments about putting yourself down because of your age. And I'm just going to get on a little bit of a soapbox here. You are not too old to ever start to learn to play piano. You are not less valuable if you are quote unquote older. I don't care how old you are. If you have a passion to play piano, we will make it happen. Never let someone tell you you're too young or too old to start learning. I have had students that were as young as 4. I've taught 4-year-olds, and I've taught people up into their 90s. Okay, you are never too old, and I hate hearing that, and I hear that a lot in the video comments and in the emails I get. Okay, stop putting yourselves down. You are not too old. Okay, we can work it out, and any obstacle can be overcome. Even right now, in the last month, I have clients that have a lot of vision impairment. So we're working with, if you're close to blindness, how can we teach you how to get piano keys under your fingers? If you have severe arthritis in one hand, we'll figure it out. We'll work around that. If you have an arm injury, we'll figure it out. If you are bedridden, I have a student that's been asking me questions about like they're ill a lot and they can't get out of bed. Guess what? We're going to get you playing piano laying on a bed. Like that's part of my job, but I just want to put that out there. Don't put yourselves down. I do not care if you are 33 or 75 or 88 or 22. You have value and you have potential on the piano, and you can play piano beautifully, no matter what your age, no matter what your limitation is. Okay, and that's part of my job to help you figure that out. So that's sort of that's a little bit of my soapbox. Okay, let's see. Oh, thank you, Mike. That's so sweet. Yes. Several of you I've had the pleasure of doing one-on-one virtual lessons with so far. You all have been incredible to work with. Let's see. Okay, here are sort of a series of questions on my list that they came from different people, but they're kind of the same thing. So I think we can kind of bounce through them. I had a lot of questions about specific type of chords. So I got can you remind me what a sus chord is? Because I'm seeing it a lot in my lead sheets. Or what does it mean when a chord has a dash on a lead sheet? Or what's a slash chord on a lead sheet? Which is great. Lead sheets, you've noticed I've done a couple of videos now on lead sheets. I'm gonna have more videos come out on lead sheets. I use lead sheets with my students. Lead sheets are a fantastic way to learn if you're ready for it. But reading chords on lead sheets can be confusing because they have symbols, and if you're not sure what they mean, totally understand of what exactly does that mean again. So let's just sort of go through the list because I kind of have 4 or 5 people ask me questions specifically about it, but I see this in a lead sheet. What does that mean? So the first one, if you see sus, S-U-S, that means suspension chord. So 9 out of 10 times on a lead sheet, what that's going to mean is whatever your chord is, so let's say C major, if you see C, S-U-S, C sus, that means you're going to take the middle of the chord. So instead of C major, and it's usually based on a major chord, you play the major chord, but then you take that middle note and you move it up a note. So you have, instead of what we call a 1-3-5, you have a 1-4-5. So if you ever see sus, so for example, if you're reading a lead sheet and you see G sus, that means just find a G chord first, a G major chord. So that would be G, B, D. Then take the middle note and move it up a note. And that's what sus means. It basically, sus means replace the third with the fourth. Take the middle note, move it up. When you see a chord that's called it's got a dash in it. So if you see, actually I'm gonna draw it here on the board. Yes, I'm a teacher, right? You can tell I'm a professor. I always have a whiteboard with me. If you see something like this, like that. I don't know if that's backwards or not. A dash. In lead sheet terminology, a dash means minor. So if you just see A, that means major, A major chord. If you see a dash, that means minor. So it's just the way it is. Now that's really popular in lead sheets. Sometimes if you get full sheet music and they write pop chords on top, it won't always do that, but especially in jazz, or like old school sort of lead sheets, you'll see that. So if you see the dash, that means it's minor. There's a bunch of different symbols that mean the same thing. So for example, minor, you could either have a dash or a little m or an M-I-N, but they all mean the same thing. A slash chord is when you have, so if we saw A slash C sharp, that doesn't mean a chord over a chord. So that doesn't mean an A major chord over a C sharp major chord. It means a chord over a note. So when you see the slash, the second thing after the slash, the chord slash note, that's the note that has to be on the bottom. So if it's a note that's in that chord, so for example, if it said A, which would be A major, A slash C sharp, well, A major chord is A, C sharp, E. C sharp is in the chord, so that's telling you to play an inversion. That's telling you to play an A major chord, but an A is not on the bottom. But other times a slash chord is used if they want a bottom note that's not in the chord. So if it was A slash G, right, or A slash F, right? It could be a way to have a cool kind of jazzy sound. But if you see slash, it doesn't mean 2 chords. It means the chord and then the note that's on the bottom. So for piano players, that means the note that needs to be the lowest note. A dominant 7 chord, this was asked. So a dominant chord, dominant, or what's called a dominant 7, it means whatever key we're in. So let's say we're in C major. It's dealing with the 5. What is the 5 chord, which is the chord built on the 5th note of that scale. So in C major, if this is a C major scale, the 5th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G, that means I'm gonna play a major chord on that note. So G major. So that's a dominant chord. A dominant chord means the major 5 chord that is, whatever key we're in. Now, what's really popular is for it to be a dominant 7. We see this a ton in jazz, in blues, in rock, even in pop, sometimes even country. So that would mean turn that into a 7th, and it's gonna have a minor 7th. So a minor 7th means you are going to, that bottom note, whatever it is, so if it's a G chord, G, B, D, then you take that bottom note, move it up an octave, and then go down 2 notes. You're turning it into a 7th, but it's called, it has a flattened 7. So a dominant 7 chord, what they mean is you're gonna play a major chord that's on the 5th of that note with a flat 7. So, and when we would write that in our board, if you see something like this, like let's say it's A7, if you just see the 7, that means a dominant 7, which means even though it doesn't say the word major, it means you would play an A major chord. So, and then you would add the 7. If you just see a 7 by itself, that means the flat 7. So that means now take that 1 up an octave, go down 2. Okay, so I know once we get into 7ths, it can get a little confusing. So if you're not there yet, just completely ignore everything I just said. But if you're ready for it, 7ths are kind of fun to dive into. And I think I've talked about 7th in other videos, and I'll have a video coming up soon that deals a lot with like 7ths because it comes up a lot in blues and rock and jazz music. And then the last one dealing with chords that I got was, how do I figure out like complicated chords that are the 7th chords, 9th chord, 13th chords? These are the really kind of, not annoying, but they can be frustrating if you're not used to it, that show up a lot in jazz. Here is the deal. If you see anything past 7, if it's a number that is 7 or higher, so you see a 7 or a 9 or a 13 or an 11, anything past 7, it insinuates that that we're building off of the 7. So for example, if I saw, instead of A7, let's say I see a C9, okay, a C with little baby 9. What that means is I first need to figure out the 7. 7, it's building off of a 7, even though it doesn't say 7. So first, I would just go with, well, just what's the basic? Is it a major or a minor chord? Here, it doesn't have a dash, so it's not minor, so it's major. So C major. Then I need to find the 7th, so I would find the 7th. Then the 9th would mean if this is 7, 8, 9. All right, that's a big chord in one hand. But when you have 9th, 11th, 13th, it means you're just building on whatever number came before it. So if you have an 11th chord, that means you first found the 7, and then the 9, and then the 11. It builds on itself. It's insinuating it has all the numbers beforehand, if that makes sense. Again, if you're not at that level yet, just ignore. That's a little bit more advanced theory. But if you're at that level, I hope that helps you. Okay, let's check in back with the chats. Oh, I love reading all these chats. You all are incredible. Let's see. Catching up. Adult player, yep, love it. Learning lead sheets, any suggestions for learning both and with rhythm? Great, so okay. Rhythm, I got asked a few questions about rhythm. This is an example of, I think I'm not gonna answer it here because that's something that is, I'm getting ready to record a video probably for next week that's going to be just about this. So I kind of don't want to do it. I don't think I'll give it justice if I try to give like a really short condensed version when I know I'm getting ready to record a video that very much is about this to help you with rhythm. So stuff with, can you explain rhythm to me? I'm going to hold off on that for this live because it's coming really, really soon. Like I'm probably going to record that video tomorrow. So it'll probably be uploaded next week. So I promise you that's coming. Let's see. I play guitar for a while, but I never look at the neck, but the piano is not easy to look at. Keys, what do I do? Yes, that's a great question. Playing guitar and playing piano are very different. And I actually get quite a bit of students that come to me and they started off on guitar. They were a guitar player or they picked up guitar first, and now they're wanting to learn, well, how can I translate that to piano? Because it is very different. It can be the same music theory, but translating this to this, very different. So it's sort of like you feel like you're starting back at ground zero again. But you can do it. In terms of how can I start to practice without looking? I don't know if you were on earlier. That was one of the first questions I talked about in this session. So go back and watch that part. I went through sort of how you can use the black keys to kind of help you. But in general, don't make yourself not look. Okay, like in the beginning, if you're new at piano, look, right? You're not trying to impress anyone, right? It's not like you need to be able to play with your eyes closed, but it is a nice tactic once you're ready to try to get to that spot. All right, we got, hi Matt, what is your opinion on this new smaller keys digital piano for smaller hands? Ah, excellent. I'm glad you brought that up because this is becoming more of a trend, and I actually have a personal story that's sort of the opposite of that. I play on, at the university I teach at, one of the full grand pianos I play on sometimes. That thing, just the way it's built, those keys are huge. I'm talking monstrous. Like, no joke, my fingers have bled playing it when I'm trying to play really fast, like jazz stuff on it. There is this interesting trend of between grand pianos, baby grand pianos, upright pianos, digital keyboards, and then even within the world of keyboards, well, is it a full size? Is it middle? Is it a small? So we all have totally different size keys, like literal size of the white and black keys that we're trying to hit with our fingers. And we all have different size hands. That's why earlier in the stream, I got a little bit on a soapbox about fingerings and hand spans, and there's not really a right way because it's going to be so different for all of us. It's tricky. It can be hard if you're used to practicing on one piano. Like, for example, if you have a keyboard at home and that's just the only thing you play and that's just what you're used to, and then you go to a friend's house or a Christmas party and they have a piano and they say, oh, play me something, and you sit down and it's a very different keyboard or piano than what you're used to, and it feels so weird, and you'll notice, like, why am I hitting weird notes, and why do I not feel, I thought I was better than this, I thought I was good. Part of it might be you're having to adjust to a whole different size. It can be really tricky. So in general, I'm not for or against one or the other. I'm just for pick something that is good for your hand. Now, if you have a big hand or you have big fingers and you have a keyboard that has very small skinny keys and you notice it's hard for you to hit, like look at my finger here. I have big fingers, but this finger can still comfortably hit between these two white keys without me worrying of, oh, am I gonna accidentally hit? But if this was any smaller, like this keyboard here, the reason this, my baby back here, is more of a backdrop than a keyboard I play now is because the keys are skinnier. And it's easier for me to hit wrong notes on this keyboard because when I'm flying and doing fast stuff, my big fingers are hitting smaller keys, and it's easier for me to accidentally hit another note that's neighboring the key I'm trying to hit. So that's why I've kind of retired this one. This is one of my oldest keyboards. It's one of the things I used forever, like 20 years ago when I was starting my career. But it's my baby, so it's the backdrop. But it's a prime example of the size of these keys, totally different than the size of these keys in the keyboard. And I used to have a keyboard that I don't use anymore that was too big. The keys were so massive, I didn't like it. It felt harder, like I had to work twice as hard to play it. So it's all about you just knowing your hands, but just make sure whatever keyboard if you're shopping for one for yourself, that you feel like you can put your finger down on a key, like on a white key, and you're not easily touching the keys on either side. That's sort of a good rule of thumb. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, wait, Matt offers lessons? Yes, I do offer lessons. Yes, every video I have a link in the video description to the website about virtual lessons. Yes, I love it. And most of my, recently, most of my virtual students I work with are you all, like my people from YouTube, which I love. It's so much fun. So it's a great chance to work with people I love, my college students I work with, but it's also wonderful to work with adults too. So yes, find out more information. I think it might be even in the link in this video description of the live chat. So yes, definitely check it out. I love doing virtual lessons. You can do just one lesson with me if you just kind of want a one-off, or you can do a bulk package. I offer a big discount if you order like a month of lessons. And whatever you're at, I promise you, you're not too old and you're not a beginner. I literally had one of my lessons a few days ago was with someone where we literally started with, this is a piano, and these are white keys, these are black keys, right? Whatever level you're at, I'm here to help you. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, so a follow-up to the sus question. So is there a difference between a sus2 chord from a sus4? Yes. So let me answer this in two parts. There is a difference. So sus2 or sus4 means this. If we specify a 2 or a 4, so we go back to, you find the major chord first, then what I said, the traditional sus is where you take the middle and you go up, so you turn the 3 into a 4. That's a sus4. A sus2 would be the opposite. You take a middle note and then you move it down a note to the 2. That's a sus2. Most of the time, like 80–90% of the time, when people say sus, they mean the 4 version. So a lot of times people won't write 4, like the number 4, they won't write sus4, they'll just write sus. And that's just, it's insinuated. Kind of like how sometimes people will write M for minor, and then sometimes they don't, they just put a dash. Or if you want it to be major, you don't say anything, you just say the note. So yes, it's good to know that there are technically 2 different susses. But really, when you see it in the world of lead sheets, which most of you are using, sus most of the time is going to mean the 4. So that's the one that's really important to learn. Okay, let me look at my list of questions here. Again, so many great ones. I love it. Okay. Oh, this was an interesting one. So it's dealing with how you all know what's my magic note that I love adding, that I bring up almost every video, right? That added to, that beautiful added to note. Someone asked, can I show how you can do that even on a super simple song like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Absolutely. So added to just means if we take Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right? So you first figure out just what's the basic chord. So for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, the first chord is C major. Then the next chord is F major. And then C major. If I want to start to add the 2, I can do it in different ways. Now the first thing, and actually this will go with another question on the list, so let's sort of knock this out together. Because another person asked, a couple of people asked, can you show me how to flesh out chords on a lead sheet? So I'm going to have more videos dealing with this, but let me sort of give you a kind of crash course on it. And this is something I also worked with several students on this week. Traditionally, when you start with a lead sheet, you have your melody and you have chords. So let's pretend like I'm reading a lead sheet that says Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's going to have just the melody and the basic chords. The first thing to do is to do what I call the computer version, which is just the melody in your right hand and the basic chord in your left hand. Right, like whatever it is, you learn the melody and then you just play the basic chord. That's how a lot of people start off with lead sheets. Melody in your right hand, the basic chord in your left hand. Great, that's sort of how a computer would play it. Now, the way we're going to flesh it out is what we're going to do is we want to add more symmetry. I want to add notes to my right hand that's going to sound nice with the melody. I also want to change my left hand a bit because one thing, let's move Twinkle Twinkle Little Star down here. In the left hand in general, the lower we get, we need more distance. I often, in my left hand, very rarely will do this. I'm not gonna play all the notes of the chord because it's just important that are the notes there between the 2 hands somewhere. In the left hand, it can get muddy when notes are close together. This is why I like on my videos, I have not just you see my hands, but the blue, like the blue lights that come up, so you can visually see how notes are close together. That sounds muddy. This doesn't. If it's left, if it's the last the left side of the piano, you want more space. So instead, what I'll often do is I take that chord in the left hand, I'm gonna get rid of the middle note, because look what happened. As soon as I did, I instantly have more distance. And the 1 note and the 5 note, or the bottom and top of a chord, those are the strongest notes of a chord. The middle note's actually what we call a weak note. It's the weakest note. 1 and 5 are strong. So I'm gonna do that, but what I'm going to do is I'm gonna take, if I want 3 notes in my left hand, instead of doing the 3 notes of the chord, I'm gonna take away the middle note, and then on that low note, that 1, the root of the chord, I'm gonna move that up an octave. And now I'm gonna have 1, 5, 8. 8 is the same as 1. In my right hand, I'm gonna ask myself, what is the melody note? I first play the melody note. Boom. Then I ask myself, what other notes can I add? Because I don't want the left hand to have all the fun. I want notes in my right hand. But the melody note has to be the note that's farthest to the right, because the melody note has to be the highest note. That's what we hear. So then I ask myself, what notes could I add in the right hand underneath the melody? So I first ask, am I missing a note from the chord anywhere? So I'm playing C major. So I go through the 3 notes of the chord. Do I have a C? Yep, I got a C here and a C here. Do I have an E? Nope, I don't have an E. Do I have a G? Yep, here and here. So I'm missing a note, so I'm gonna fill that in the right hand under the melody. So this is my melody note. I could fill in that note I'm missing here. Now, I wanna add 1 more note. The left hand gets to have 3 notes, so the right hand should get to have 3 notes. The right hand should always have at least the same number of notes as the left hand. And the right hand can handle notes closer together than the left hand can. It's not as muddy. So now that added 2 is a beautiful addition. So in C major chord, that added 2 would be a D. So I can do this. Now that has taken this, which is the computer sound, the 1 note melody and the basic chord in the left hand, and turned it into. And so you just do that in different ways. So if I was doing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I spent time going through that and doing that on every single melody note and chord, you could get stuff like this. What I'm doing is I'm opening my left hand to have more distance. So I'm doing a lot more of like 1, 5, 8 of the chords. I'm adding notes in my right hand under the melody, and I'm choosing notes that are either in the chord or they're a nice added note, which is often the added 2 note. So it's a great, and by doing that, I balance the hands. Now both hands have notes, and together they're working in harmony, like 1 hand with 10 fingers. So I know that was sort of a lot. I'm also going to have a video coming out where I keep talking about that, like how do you take a lead sheet and you kind of flush out the chords like that. But those are some of the initial bullet points that I do a lot and that I work with students on. Okay. If you have it, let's see. If you have a chord and say 3 melody notes before a next chord, do you keep the pedal down for all the melody notes before you change chords, or do you release the pedal while playing the melody notes? Fantastic question. In general, the rule with pedal is everything that falls under that chord, that harmony, then you want to hold the pedal down. So if I'm playing a chord in my left hand, but there's multiple melody notes in my right hand, I don't want to lift my pedal up until I change chords. So the changing of the pedal, like the changing of the guards, the changing of the pedal goes with the changing of the chord, not once you hit a new note on the melody. Because the melody notes are married to the chord that's underneath it. So, because often that will happen. You will have, like in a lead sheet, a melody note, or you will have multiple melody notes over 1 chord. So use the chord changes, that's when you change the melody. When you go to a new chord, not when you're changing melody notes. Great, any tip on learning to roll those chords? Oh, Another great question, how to roll the chords. I work on this a lot with students because people notice. Someone I worked with 2-3 days ago, that was one of the first questions she brought up. She was like, you do this ripple thing with your hands under your videos and it's beautiful. What are you doing? Here's what it is. It's basically called a ripple. It lives in between two things, both extremes. One extreme is you just play all the notes at the same time. That's one side. The other extreme is I do one note at a time, but it's so slow that there's rhythm to it. That has a rhythm. The ripple lives in the middle of those. I'm not playing all the notes at the same time, but I'm not going so slow that it feels like there's rhythm. It's more of just what I think of it like a harp. And a great way to practice it is usually the top note is my melody note, which means that note needs to ring a bit more than the other notes do. So how can you practice where you hold the pedal down the whole time, you go left to right, it's not slow, it's not that, it's just like a little harp ripple, but you also lean into the top note, like you're falling into it. It's a really great way to soften the blow. If you have a bunch of notes with stuff, if you're playing, if you have like 3 notes in each hand, it's a great way to do it, right? Because it can feel a little heavy if all the notes are hit at the same time. So if I'm doing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and I'm doing multiple notes in each hand, it can feel a little heavy and loud to go. Right, that's kind of like an anthem version of it. I instead may do it just softens the blow a bit. It's like landing on clouds and feathers. You don't have to do it every single time you play a chord, but it's a great way to practice it. So just practice a chord, just choose a random chord and just practice doing it. Right? It's really lovely. It takes a little practice to get that gentle touch, but once you unlock it, it's a great little flair and it makes you sound more professional and more soothing and beautiful in your playing. Let's see. On your replay, will you be putting timestamps? My goal is yes. Sometimes adding timestamps for something like this can take some time. Can take quite a bit of time, but I do agree. I think it would help. So I want to say yes. So keep me accountable. I'm gonna try. If not, what I'll try to do is at least write in the video description the order that the questions were. But I'll try to do timestamps. And also, you all can help me. YouTube also has a new setting where sometimes it'll try to do automated timestamps. I haven't done it yet. I always do my own timestamps for all of the videos, but I might experiment with that to see if it works, or did YouTube really screw it up? So you all can also let me know too. Okay, let me look in the list again. You all are so awesome for sticking with me. We're almost at an hour. I love it. I love it. How can I practice chord inversions? This was another question that came up. A great way to practice chord inversions is, again, just start with one chord. So many things to practice on the piano can just start with choose your favorite chord, right? And mix it up. Choose a different chord each time. Make it a minor chord if you're feeling kind of sad. Make it a major chord if you're feeling happy. But with chord inversions at its heart just means you're gonna play the notes, but just in different order. So let's choose a different chord because we're probably sick of C major chord at this point. Let's do D flat major. D flat major is D flat, F, A flat, right? Oh, also let me do my little plug in case some of you don't have it. If you need help with scales and chords and the notes on the piano and all that, and you haven't downloaded it yet, please download the link is in the video description. My free PDF I created is called The Ultimate Intro Guide to Piano. I keep updating it, so now it's like 30 pages long. It's totally free, and I built it literally for YouTube, for my YouTube audience. There's tons of stuff in there, so I literally show you every single chord and what it is and what the notes are, where it is on the piano, all that great stuff. So if we have a D flat major chord, now I just practice inversions. I use those same three notes, D flat, F, A flat, but I do them in different ways. How can I rearrange this? So instead of D flat, F, A flat, well, what if I have the F on the bottom? Well, that means, what's the easiest way to do that? Move the D flat up. So now I have the D flat up here. How can I have it where the A flat's on the bottom? I can move the F up here. So any major or minor chord, that's the normal traditional 3 notes, that means there are 2 different inversions for each chord, because you have what we call the root position, which is just the normal way. Like the bottom, middle, and note, the way we know the chord. A D flat major scale, D flat's on the bottom. That means because there's 3 notes, well, that's one option where the bottom note is the bottom note. Then we have 2 inversions, so we have 2 more options. First inversion means the middle note is the one going first. It's the middle note. It's the first way you could have an inversion. So the middle note's on the bottom. And then you have what we call a second inversion, which is the top note is on the bottom. So with any basic normal 3-note chords, which would be major, minor, augmented, diminished, sus, there are 3 different versions of how you can arrange those notes. Root position means just the normal way. First inversion, meaning you put the middle note on the bottom. Or second inversion, meaning you put the top note on the bottom. And you just practice, pick a chord and just practice doing it, those same 3 notes, but in different ways. And then once you're ready to move on to multiple chords, choose 2 chords and kind of just keep alternating. Great, you all are so awesome. I love that you all are loving this chat. Thank you. Please definitely let me know. I'm experimenting with these live sessions, what you all want. I want to be most helpful to you. I've done 2 versions where they were sort of live concerts to show you me in real time implementing my own, that I walk my own talk. And then I'm doing this Q&A. An idea I had for one is maybe I choose a lead sheet that I email to you all or you download beforehand, and we do it together. Like if you were saying at piano, how can you walk through this? I'm always trying to find different ways, but I will say the Q&A, I got a lot of great emails from you all. So if this is what you would like live sessions to be, or at least, frequently, please let me know. I want live sessions to help you. Okay, what's the benefit of open chords and where are the most useful in a piece? Excellent question. So in general, open chords are fantastic for the left hand. Open chords usually mean, I call them the power chords, and that goes with earlier a bit ago when I was showing how, like on a lead sheet, how I would transform the left hand. When you take a chord in the left hand and you take away the middle note, that becomes an open chord. And the power chord is that 1, 5, 8 that I showed you, where instead of the 3 notes in your left hand being the 3 notes of the chord, it's the 1 of the bottom note, the 1, the top of the chord, the 5, and then that 1 an octave higher. This is a power chord or an open chord. These are fantastic for left hand. Now, it's not to say you would never do it in your right hand, but it's a great way to have left hand. Because remember, in our left hand, we want distance. One of the ways that I explain keys to my private students is I'll say that your right hand are siblings and your left hand are cousins. Meaning we're all part of the same family, we're all contributing to the same family, but siblings are closer, like relatives, than cousins, right? I am more related to my sister than I am my 4th cousin. What that means is the right hand can handle several notes together and be squished together. So I can do something like this. That's why I do that added second a lot in my right hand, because you can have notes that are visually close together. The left hand, they're the cousins. They go together, they're part of the same family, but they're a bit more distant. So I would never do this down here, because that's really muddy. right? I would have more open chords because I want more distance. Yeah. Oh, and this also goes with another question. I think this might be the last question on my list from emails. Someone said, can you show me your favorite left hand accompaniment patterns? So there are 3 that are really popular for you to practice. I think I've shown these in videos, but as a reminder, one is, and for the left hand, notice that they all are starting with open chords, this power chord. So take a chord, so C major, C, E, G, get rid of that middle note. One option is you just go like this. You just do 1 and 5. And this is a great way, if you're really new at this, to practice independence. Like whatever it is. Option 2 is the really famous one, popular one, and I still do this one a lot. It's that power chord I showed you, that 1, 5, 8, and that's your arpeggio. So I could do that with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for each of the chords. It's whatever chord you're doing, the left hand is doing that open chord, but 1 at a time. And you're holding the pedal down the whole time during that arpeggio. 1, 5, 8. And then the next one to try, if you can do that relatively easy, then sort of a level up from it is, instead of 1, 5, 8, do 1, 5, 8, and then keep going in what we call 2, 3, but it's higher. So in C major, if we had said, what's a C major chord? C, E, G, what's the added 2? The D. Well, now we're taking those notes and we're gonna play all those notes, but we're gonna spread it out. I can do those notes like that in the right hand, because remember, they're siblings. In the left hand, I gotta spread them out. They're cousins. So instead of doing that, I would go, I put the 2 and 3 higher, and all that is under 1 pedal. That's beautiful accompaniment. So if I did that with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right? It's able to elongate it. So those are 3 different popular left-hand accompaniments to try, and it's a nice arpeggio. It makes beautiful music, and they're not incredibly difficult. Start with this one, because it just helps you have independence. And then when you're ready, add sort of the big one. It's really beautiful. Okay, let me look. So I think I'm done with the list I had written. Let's see, let's get back to the chats. I love you all so much. This is so much fun. You all are incredible. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's been over an hour. I promise we're gonna wind this down soon. I know you all have lives. Let's see. When I play the example, the G with the right hand, what bass note sounds good? With that noted, never mind if it sounds good. Harry, I'm trying to understand what you're asking. When I play the example, the G with the right hand, what bass note sounds good with that? I'm not exactly sure, Harry, what you're asking. Is there a way you can ask your question again? Reword it maybe a different way. Twinkle Twinkle never sounded so good. Listen, you can do a lot with nursery rhymes. Sometimes when students are ready and they've learned a lot of really cool piano stuff, it's fun to apply it to a song you learned when you were little, but like make it cool, right? Because a lot of times old traditional books as a kid, or when you're starting out, they'll make you learn, right? Or and you can turn it into really cool stuff. All the techniques that I apply, you can turn it into. You can have fun with anything. It's really fun. So let's see, are there any, I'm kind of catching up here on the chats. You all are so awesome. Let me scroll back up. I love it, love it. For real, thank you all so much for sticking with me. This is so amazing. I love doing these lives with you. Let's see. Does it matter if you play the 7th at the bottom? Oh, this is a 7th question. Does it matter if you play the 7th at the bottom instead of the top? It can be easier to reach. Great question. I would hardly ever tell you to play the 7th on the bottom. A 7th adds tension. This is why we like it in pop and rock. It adds tension. Like a 7th chord, here's like a C7 chord is this, C, E, G, B flat. Adding that 7 adds tension to it. Why do we say tension? Because even though the 7th looks like it's far away from where we start, actually, if you take that one note, the root note, and you move it up an octave, look, it's actually, that 7th is adding a lot of tension. So I wouldn't put it down here, especially in the left hand. You would want that root if possible, or if it's an inversion, like the 3rd or the 5. Depending on what octave I'm in, I will put the 7th either at the very top of the left hand, where it's farthest up, so it's high as much as possible, because it'll sound better higher on the piano, or I'll put it in my right hand. So if I see a C7 chord in my lead sheet, I may not do this, or even have some version where it's in my left hand. I'll probably put it in my right hand. Yeah. Same thing with a major 7, because again, a major 7th chord, it's actually adding a lot of tension, because if the 7 is at odds with the root, the 1 note. It's just the 1 note's down here. So again, I would not play a 7th down here. If I'm playing a left hand up here, I want that 7th as high as possible because it adds tension. So I often won't put it in the left hand. I'll put it in the right hand. So these are great questions. As you learn how to flesh out lead sheets, which is why lead sheets are a great way to practice, and what I use a lot with a lot of my students, because it gives you just enough structure of a sandbox to play in, which it has a specific melody and specific chord, so you're not just having to make up everything on the spot. It gives you a sandbox to play in, but how you play in that sandbox, you have endless creativity in learning how to slowly figure out what notes sound good together, what works, what doesn't. This is something I work with a lot with private students, of how do you learn to flush stuff out, and you take single melody with chords written on paper and use 2 hands and flush them out evenly. It's like a ripple, water spreading. And the more you do it, the quicker and easier you do it. You can do it. So there's a lot of tactics to learn with it, and I love helping students, showing them how to do it. Let's see. Oh, thank you all so much. You all are so kind. I'm so glad this has been helpful. Yes, please, again, let me know if this is a great way to spend the live sessions. Happy to do it. I am here for you all. Okay, so let's do sort of a last call for any last minute questions. Let's start to wind this down. Thank you all so much for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. Oh yes, yeah, right? We're all at totally different time zones, which is amazing. I love it. So thank you all so much. If you're in a really late time zone, thank you for staying up with me. This has been incredible. So let's go ahead and start to wind down. I really appreciate it. I haven't chosen yet the date of the next live session or what it is. I may let you all vote. I may send out a survey to my email subscribers. What would you like it to be again? And the way to get on my email subscription list is just as soon as you download that free PDF, you're already on it. That's the way to do it. So check out the video description links in this video and the links on all of my videos. You'll see the same links. It's the link to download the PDF if you haven't, or if you haven't gotten the latest version, because I do update it. It's now 30 pages. So if the version you have isn't 30 pages, that means there's an updated one, an extended one for you. And you automatically get put on my email list, and then the link to the website where you can see a bunch of information of how to do a virtual one-on-one piano lesson with me, okay? And I promise you, you're not too old for it. You're not too inexperienced for it. I'm here to help you, and I have a passion for it, okay? I love it. And I'll also give you all a little bit of a heads up. Actually, this is top secret. So I guess it's sort of not, now that I'm going to tell you all. I'm actually too, a lot of people have asked me about, do I have a course? I didn't, but I do now. I've been building it for like weeks and weeks. I've done so many recordings for it. So I'm actually getting ready to have a fun announcement for you all, where if you want it, it's another option of how to learn from me. I actually have built a course that takes you from beginner level. It's going to be called From Basic to Beautiful. And it literally goes from beginner level piano to how do I sound beautiful. And I'm working in lead sheets. It's a really cool course I'm really proud of. It's another way to get to work with me or learn from me if you don't want to do one-on-one virtual lessons. So that's going to be launching soon in the next couple of weeks. I'm really excited about it. I have put a lot of time into building it. And again, that came from you all. A lot of people are asking me, do you have a course? So I'm always listening to you. So that's why I'm so big on every video I post. Comment, let me know. Are you doing the activity? Did you like it? What would you like me to cover in a future video? I listen to you all. Right? That's the same way I am with my students at my university. I want to listen to you and offer what you want, what's most helpful. I'm here to serve you through my YouTube videos with free content. If you want to support the channel, I have optional memberships now. It's a great way to support the channel. I promise every dollar goes towards making this channel for you all. I'll have that course launching soon, which I'm really excited about in the next couple of weeks, if that's up your alley. And if you want to do one-on-one virtual lessons where I can mentor you one-on-one, just a one-off, or if you'd like multiple. All the different ways I love connecting with you, and these live streams, which I'm really excited about. So let's go ahead and start to wrap up. Everyone say goodnight to each other. Yes, homework for tomorrow, absolutely. And I think tomorrow I have a new video that I'll be uploading, posting. If not tomorrow, definitely Thursday, but it's probably going to be tomorrow morning. So you'll have another one to look. So I'm trying to give you, you have homework from Professor Hodge, okay? But I hope that they're fun to work with. I think the one, I can give you a heads up, I think the one tomorrow, if I remember correctly, because I record and post them in advance, I think this one is dealing with scales and another way to approach scales in a fun way. So thank you all so much. Let me check the comments here. Will you be emailing the new course? Yeah, when I'm ready to launch it and actually officially tell you all about it and people sign up for it, yes, I'll build, I'm in the middle of building the website for it, like I build for the piano lesson, so you can see all the information about it. So when I'm ready to actually tell you all about it, that's how I'll do it. I'll email. So you want to make sure you're on my email list, which I think most of you are already. So that's coming. It's probably still going to be another couple of weeks because I'm in the middle of finishing it. But like I said, I'm really excited for it. It's just another great way to learn from me, especially if you struggle just kind of endlessly searching through random videos all over the rabbit hole of the internet, or if doing one-on-one sort of isn't your thing, which is totally fine. That's not everyone's thing. All right, let's go ahead and say, oh, I'm so glad you love that idea. Thank you all. Yes. Oh, and yes, please click the like button if you're watching. That really matters. Apparently, like YouTube, that really matters in the algorithm. So please click the like button if you are so kind to do so, and check the replay on this video. So as soon as I end it, it becomes a replay on YouTube. So you'll be able to rewatch over and over. So hopefully I answered your question if you submitted some. Some questions that were asked are going to be answered in future videos. So just keep checking emails from me. You get an email from me almost every day now with some sort of fun piano activity for you, or announcement, or video. New YouTube content coming very soon. The exciting course launching very soon. And I still teach virtual lessons each week if you are interested in that. Okay, so thank you all so much. Let's say goodnight to everyone. Thank you so much for staying up late. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you all. You all are incredible. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to everyone. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.